Whoa, I didn't even run the intro. Holy shimoly. Ah! Do you guys want the intro? We'll give you a short version. How's that? Was that better? What's up? From Singapore, my dude. Teddy. I was thinking about going to Singapore. Not a joke. What to do? Dang. I had I was watching some charts. Man, oh man, what a day already. I can't believe where we are in the market right now. It's just absolutely insane, you guys. Absolutely insane. Does anybody check the calendar on what we have on deck right now? This week is probably, I was going to say it, one of the biggest weeks that I've seen in a very, very long time. Look at Google, 352. That's crazy. All kinds of wild moves this morning. How are we playing Hood? I think I think best case scenario, Hood goes nowhere, quite frankly. Honestly, I feel like that's definitely best case scenario. You never know. But I honestly don't think that I think Hood could probably drop. Not a joke. Technical trader Wong is in Singapore. Oh yeah. Singapore is full of traders, man. Full of traders. Wednesday is absolutely the craziest day that I've seen in a very long time. The craziest day. It's more than it is, okay. Is it the Super Bowl of earnings this week? Jeez. I got a lot of stuff on deck. I'm a little, not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned, but I don't know. You guys see Qualcomm this morning? Holy shimole. Qualcomm was just like beast mode today. Super Bowl of earnings, yeah, Wednesday is it. Don't bring chewing gum. Oh, is that a thing? I had no idea. I had no idea that was a thing. Well, tell you what, we got a handful of people in. You guys want to start the show? It is the middle of the lunch hour. The question is, did we just peak for the day or not? That's my question. All right. So we'll get to the questions. I'll scroll up in a little bit and get through get through some of these requests. My Fastly's doing good today. My Qualcomm had a huge pop this morning. The market was a little short on the uptake on my Qualcomm, but not short, but like they caught on to the thesis. But it was, I think they got the thesis wrong. Regardless, it was good trade. I took down some of my leaps. I had a bunch of equity, had some leaps. But Qualcomm, it is like multifaceted. So it's the edge though. I don't know about this, what Sam was talking about. He's full porting SoFi. Yeah, you and everybody else. But yeah, the Qualcomm thesis is it's an NPU is what I think Sam Altman was trying to say. It's super nuanced. But what it is, it's a chip. It's a data center chip. Although Qualcomm specifically is uniquely suited to also make cell phone chips. Like they have the biggest install base, period, end of story. And I briefly listened to my buddy Amit this morning. I was like, I think he got it wrong. It's about the new chip getting installed into the new phones, Samsung, Apple, whatever, when it comes out. But that's not for a long time. So probably a little front running. I think it's $180 stock though. That's just me. That's just me. Well, SPY is just ripping right now. Jeez, almost back to the highs. Looks like we got a handful of bets here. Enphase. I mean, Enphase's story is like, we could talk about it. It may or may not be this year. There's a sleeper sector though that has something to do with the data centers, but is like it gets a little benefit from the data centers, but is benefiting from some policy changes actually. So it's, sleeper sector. I think I found a good one, but we'll see. Nvidia for sure. What's my take on Poet? Dude, Poet pissed me off today. I think Poet, I'm not a big believer in Poet specifically. I am in fiber optics and optics in general, but I think it's a Poet specific thing. I own some AAOI and I had a trade on it also, which, dude, I don't know. I feel like the Poet canceled order was specific to them, and so maybe the rest of the optics might just be an unfair kind of beat down this morning. Honestly, that's my quick take, but who knows? I have MITK. I don't know what this SYNA is. Oh, Synaptics. I have SNPS. Synaptics is hardware. Synaptics is probably fine, but I don't know that it's already back at the highs. I don't know the story for Synaptics. I have Synopsys, SNPFs, which huge bounce off the lows. Also Cadence tonight. Cadence is a semiconductor design software company. That's gonna affect. I own both Cadence and Synopsys. Sorry. I just trimmed some of my Synopsys leaps. I don't know. They're up a good bit. Not trimming any equity, but Cadence. Yeah, I think Cadence is going to be fine, but it's probably also a tell. It's up, so we'll see. Maybe I get another. Shot at adding. Oh, did you mean Synopsys? Yeah, I own Synopsys. I think those two software names in the pit of the SaaS apocalypse, Cadence and Synopsys were the ones where I was like, this is kind of dumb. Yeah, this is kind of dumb. FU to 1K. Oh, this XC too. I got to look into this. This is the new one. I don't know this one. Did this just IPO? I have to look into it. So I don't know it enough. But look, any new IPOs, if the market's thematic, this is day 2 or 1 of this stock. So I'll have to put it on watch. I have to look into it. I'm not familiar with it at all. But I did hear about it. All right, guys. So many questions coming in. What to do with my 200, 220? Is it a call debit spread or is it a cover call? I don't know. Like if you sold the call and you intended to, like if you sell a call and you get called away, then you win. But I think you could potentially get called away. I mean, you're going to get called away on the 200s, assuming it's a little risque, but you got to look into it. If you didn't join the webinar, you could have joined the webinar. That was another thing. My day, my dude, has been super busy. Appreciate you guys. I almost didn't get to this one, so I'm watching the screen on the side. But let's get into it. Calls on Qualcomm. My guy, I'm up like 300% already. Well, I was this morning. Not so much anymore. Maybe like 2 something. But You a little late to that party. Anyways, listen, if you're new to the stream, welcome. Make sure you like the show, subscribe to the channel. What we do here every Monday is we go through and kind of check out what happened last week, what's on the docket for this current week, and what do we have to look forward to this week specifically. Man, this is one of the busiest weeks I've seen in a very long time. I guess I could just say buckle in, strap in, buckle in, whatever, buckle up, because it's a big one. So let's get into it. So last week, what happened? Wasn't a whole lot to go over. We have like Tim Cook stepping down from Apple that I didn't write up here. A handful of I think we kind of started to form a little peak on, at the index level, but we're still kind of hovering right around there. We haven't made new highs. I don't believe. Are we at new highs? Actually, we are. I take it all back. We just barely are. We're at all-time highs right now. So we had heavy consolidation last week, and we're just barely over that. That low end is about 712. And we are just hovering, and the market does not know what to do right now. So we are literally at this moment at the highs. Good night. So happy all-time high day, I guess we could call it. But anyways, we did get some economic data last week. We actually got retail sales, which was shockingly good. Not sure how you want to consider it. It was good for retail. We had a 1.1% expected increase, 0.6% prior. We came in at 0.1%. And we came in at 0.17%. If you strip out autos, it was even better. X autos, retail sales coming in at 1.9 versus 0.5 prior. So this is a tough call. It's like, how do you, it means that we're spending. Are we spending more and getting less? Who knows? But we're actually spending more. We had a meeting scheduled this weekend with Iran in Pakistan. That one was canceled. Shockingly, the market is completely unfazed, exactly where we are, where we were on Friday, even with no progress. So again, I don't know. I think the market wants to ignore the war headlines altogether. And as long as we have earnings to look forward to, we have a couple things actually. So peak earnings this week is going to be just absolutely jam-packed, completely insane. We have FOMC on Wednesday, which I do believe. So the Justice Department actually dropped the criminal probe against Powell. So I think that means that he is going to transition. So we'll see. And that could be a big deal. We heard from Warsh for the first time since he was nominated, really. So, I mean, we'll see. So we got a lot of changes coming in, all happening this week. And then I think on the 30th of the month, we actually have GDP, the first look of Q1 GDP, which I'll be honest with you guys, GDP does not look hot. Does not look good. We'll take a look at it. It's just the first look of GDP. So I don't know how much the market's actually going to care, and we usually don't do a whole lot on first looks. But between peak earnings, J-Pal's last FOMC, and GDP on the 30th, I mean, we have a lot to look forward to in this moment. But once those catalysts start peeling back and tapering off, then I think the market's going to start thinking about the war again. And I think that we should be, I will be a little bit more cautious than optimistic. There are still some spots in the market that I think are amazing. And we'll get into that. But again, the market's a forward-looking vehicle. And right now, it has a lot of stuff to look forward to. You're looking forward to all the Mag 7 earnings. You're looking forward to FOMC. You're looking forward to GDP. Once those go away, what are we going to look forward to? That's the concern. So anyways, let's get into it. Earnings so far, spectacular. So I tracked the Dow 30, 11 of the Dow 30 components report. All of them have beat. Nobody has missed. And the big one, look at this. This is insane. So this week, oh man, Wednesday we have FOMC at the end of the day. Wednesday morning, we got SoFi, which our boy is full porting. And then Wednesday afternoon, look at this. Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, all four reporting right after FOMC. So as much as I would think that this FOMC would normally be a market moving event, I don't know. Whatever happens intraday is probably going to be reneged by the four of the Mag 7 all reporting at once. And then the very following day we have Apple as well. Someone asked about Rivian. Look, I don't have any reason right now for Rivian to pop off. I haven't seen a lot of the R2s, so I'm not super excited. It's more of a forecasting thing. It'll probably drop. My gut is it'll probably drop. If I see sub 14s again, I'll probably nibble again, but nothing crazy here. Robinhood, we talked about TBD. Starbucks has been on like a stealth recovery for a while since Brian's been back in. SoFi, my one position, Enphase, and Race. I forgot who Racy is. Nice. Yeah, but I'll just tell you, we have a ton of earnings. I don't know the total number, but it's like, I think like over 500 this week. What I also will say is that typically when we have this many companies reporting, the market is typically down to flat. So I think it is cover call season at the index level. It's my gut. And it's probably very trappy, potentially day trader's paradise. Who knows? We'll have to see. But after this month, then we have NFP after this. So it's like, holy crap. Just an insane week. This is what we have on deck for this week. So today we had, I don't know if anybody realized, but we had a boatload of treasury auctions today. Let me see. We still have the 5-month and the 5-year to go through. We had the 2-year Fed purchases 4 to 12-month bills, New York Fed, for $5 billion is the consensus. It's a lot. 2-year note comes in slightly lower. 6-month note comes in unchanged. We have a 3-month and a 5-year auction in just a little bit. And then tomorrow we have consumer confidence, which is really like a nothing burger. We also have like ADP weekly, again, also nothing burger. But then all hell breaks loose. And man, I don't really know what to think on this one. I'll just say today we don't have a whole lot to worry about. But it is tomorrow. And so tomorrow after the close, I get my hoodie. We get some SoFi in the morning. We get some Amphenol. I own Amphenol. GE Healthcare, I'm not a big thing in. I might say we could look at these Garmin and General Dynamics. I think might be like a low-key space play. We'll see if you're into that. If you're into that thematic, but yeah. Oh God, KLA, Qualcomm 2, Equinix. This is gonna rip. What's already ripping? Yeah, NXPI tomorrow night. Blue, oh my God, Seagate. So Seagate's the first. Do we have Micron yet? We do not. So anybody in Micron, Seagate is going to be the first one. Did we already get Corning this morning? No, Corning tomorrow morning to revive the optics plays. Seagate tomorrow. Oh, geez, guys. This is just insane. Rambus. Okay, so Rambus tonight. If you guys don't know who this is actually another CPU designer similar to ARM Technologies. So it might actually affect ARM. There's so many things going on right now. It's just absolutely insane. Oh, yeah, I mean, these guys. So look, Fabrinet, what I will say, this, if you don't know what this is in the data center demand stack, if you will. That's what I call it. there have been a handful of those companies that have reported. Most of them are doing perfectly fine. And like, look at KLA, look at things like that. I think, the companies that have reported in the stack did well. And oh, sorry, KLA didn't report. Who was I thinking of? Thinking of some other people. Credo has not reported. Let's see. Sorry, I got to get to it. Well, anyways, you guys just want to go through in the in the data center demand stack, if you will. There are a handful of names that have already reported, and I think they tell a pretty decent story. So a lot of those I'm not too worried about. I'm trying to find who I'm talking about right now. Nebius reports soon too. Jeez. With Texas Instruments, definitely reported. Applied Materials, I think, reported. Why did it say they have not? Oh, ASML reported. APLD already reported. APLD already reported the beginning of the month. So I think that's going to be like what your neo clouds will do. LRCX is who I was thinking about. LRCX already reported, and it was at the absolute highs. It's still at the absolute highs. TTM. Corning tonight, man. Corning tonight. VICR, if anybody knows that, has already reported. So I'm just going through the list. GE Vernova reported. Yeah, and again, these things are all at the highs. Still. So as long as it's a real company doing real work in Digital Realty already reported, so that's going to be the same as Equinix, probably a little sell-off. Just scanning. Yeah. A lot have already gone. But coming into these, listen, a lot of these names have had massive runs. So getting some pullbacks, I think, is to be expected, which, I mean, is kind of what we're going to see. Is Amkor tonight? It's not on my list, but I think it is also. Guys, this is just crazy. I can't even keep up. I had Freeport that reported they had a Freeport specific issue that I'm not super happy with, but I might switch my copper miner to a different company. We talk about it if we have time. SCCO split. It wasn't SCCO, but they split. Sanmina tonight. Vertiv already reported. Look, yeah, look at that. Vertiv reporting absolute at the highs. Like, I don't think any. I think we're fine. All right, so let's get on with it. Other than that, look, FOMC coming in hot. And then GDP is super important because GDP is what it's what the Fed looks at to determine inflation, right? So PCE and GDP coming in hot on Thursday right after FOMC. I mean, it could be a massive one. And then Friday we have ISM manufacturing. Oddly enough, so this is all back to back. We're used to being a services-led economy. We are a services-led economy, but manufacturing has been doing really well also, which is finally outpacing. I'm going to take a quick look at my buddy Evan's Catalyst Watch for the week, but busiest week of the quarter for the stock market, absolutely. I'm just going to see what do we have on deck that's not, we already looked at earnings. That's not on the calendar. This is insane. This amount of earnings is oh, and we have oil. Oil's interesting. All right, so Dividend Watch, AGNC, Calmain, Morgan Stanley, Costco, IPO Watch, Pershing Square. Pershing Square. I thought we already did that. No? Oh, dude. You nailed it. It is tech. That's where I'm thinking I'm going for my new copper miner to replace some Freeport. I think Freeport, like again, it's just Freeport Tech. It's already reported. It's yeah, I think that one has a better repricing situation. Let me see. Iren traders will be on edge once again as weekend developments could impact. Oh, look at that. I don't know why that did that. Change his background. All right. Pershing Square IPO. That's new. So we know earnings. All day reports. Resorts World is expected to first ever casino with live table in New York City. What? There's a New York City casino going live? Who's Resorts World? Is this Indian casino? Gentling Group property until Hard Rock International, backed by New York Mets, Steve Cohen. Jeez. Well, I guess casinos are going upstate, man. That's crazy. All right, AutoNation, earnings. This is the day. Uber, Coke annual meeting, Peakstone. Brookfield Asset Management. I don't know. Well, it's the busiest day before application of Union Pacific merger needs to be filed with Surface Transportation. March FOMC 2 p.m. So this is the one intraday, and then massive earnings. New look. We'll get to this stuff. You guys are hitting on something. Thursday again. Caterpillar. Oh, this is Apple, MasterCard. Dude, I'm thinking about this. Would Cook really step down if they were going to have a bad quarter? Like they have to have, right? Am I losing this? Open table games. Oh, okay. Yeah, open table games, nothing. But would Cook step down if they weren't going to if they weren't going to report like a massive quarter? I feel like that could be a sleeper. It could be a sleeper. We'll see. Western Digital, like just so many. Federal Reserve is expected to release its statistical report. Finance company receivables. All right. FTSE Russell rank day. So IWM, is that okay. IWM rebalance. Membership eligible. Yeah, so it's coming rebalance, not rebalance officially. Roblox, new Roblox subscription. All right. Thursday, FDA oncology drugs, AstraZeneca. Okay. Shareholders. What does this do? What's slab? I've never heard of this. Wow. That thing went from 140 to 270 on this deal announcement. Holy moly. Silicon Laboratories. Analog intensive mixed signal integrated circuits. Wireless development platform portfolio for the Internet of Things on Bluetooth. Sub-gigahertz proprietary. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why Qualcomm's still a thing. Like, the amount of development that's going to happen here. Texas Instruments trying to get into that space just tells me, yeah, I don't think Qualcomm is going to be a fade. Anyways, could be wrong. Data Watch key reports. This is Friday, first few days of the week updates. Neo X. Oh, okay. Massimo. Is Massey still trading? Wow. The merger stuff. This is a really old company. What are they? $180 per share. They were 130. They jumped boom to 180. The deals going down in biotech right now are pretty insane. All right, and we just checked. We already did all this stuff. So not like we just looked at this GDP. So here's where we are. So GDP. This might be a little bit small for you guys. I don't know what just happened. Come on. So GDP is coming in here. So consensus, this is what I mean. The issue is that the consensus is 2.1. Forecast, so let's call it 1.5. The prior one was at 0.5. And I think the government being shut down is going to affect this advance also. Look, so we get 3 looks at GDP. This is on the 30th. This is a big one. And PCE is massive as well. So consensus currently 0.3, prior 0.4. That one actually, we'll see. That's for the month over month. Year over year, 2.8. So this is the one that the Fed wants at 2%, which we're not really there. So that's what that's what the new Fed is going to have to deal with moving forward. Maybe he keeps it at 2. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. And then ISM manufacturing, like I said, at the end of the week here. But again, anything over 50 for this stuff is expansion. And, this is doing a lot better than what we're used to seeing. A lot better than what we're used to see. So anyways, that's what we have right now on deck. There's a lot. I just, this week, I'd rather be more, what's the word? Theme-based. I don't want to trade stuff that has earnings unless you were at the earnings webinar yesterday or last week. By the way, was anybody there at the earnings webinar? Did you guys learn something? This could be cover call week. I'm actually thinking, I look at some of these data center names, and quite frankly, the truth is that like a lot of them haven't gone very far because they've already had these massive run-ups. So that system, well, some quarters it's a great system, some quarters it's not the greatest system. And we've had like massive moves recently for earnings moves. The last, I'd say like year, have been probably larger than normal moves. But I kind of feel like this is the return for that system, because I'm looking across the board. A lot of these names, honestly, they're holding their gains, which is perfect, and not getting absolutely slapped. Some of them are doing really good that were just probably mispriced, like at Texas Instruments or on Semiconductor. But now at this point, they're probably appropriately priced. So I think it could be a banger setup this year, quite frankly. Plenty of IVES candidates. Yeah, plenty of IVES candidates for sure. All right. So before we get in the charts, we have to check in with our good friend, Miss Cleo. So if you're not familiar, we're going to look at the T in TA, which is obviously for tarot. If you don't like this stuff, look away for a little bit. But my friend gives us a forecast every week, and she's given us another one. So we got to read the cards. Let's see what they say. All I see is this one. I honestly didn't look at it. I'm just looking at it now. This is all I see. It's all I see is this one day on Wednesday. You know, what can you say? I swear sometimes she doesn't. She know. Does anybody else feel like she kind of like picks the cards specifically out of the deck? No, I don't know, man. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying, dude. Look at Wednesday. Look at it. What is that even? This is Wednesday. I mean, I know the card. You wake up in a pool of blood with like 10 swords on you above you. But I also think this is like it was just a nightmare, right? So this is the nightmare card. And then maybe more importantly is Thursday and Friday. So what is she saying? What is she saying? She's saying that we're going to chop and then drop. I think she's saying we're going to do this, flat, that, and then this, and then that, right? I think that's what I'm reading. Just saying, that's what I read. But the whole week is a page of cups. I like that little drawing. All right, well let's see what she had to say because I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff. But supposedly she does. So we're moving from the 4 of cups to the page of cups, which is a minor to a royal, and therefore a progression. Interesting. MP materials breaking out, by the way. However, this card also suggests a news-dominated week. No shit. Which may invoke complicated price action and an over-reliance of emotional trading. All right. It's never appeared as a theme card for stocks. Oh, so we're lacking historical data. Let's see if the daily cards can help. All right. All right, Miss Cleo. So today, let's see how she did. Monday, this card has a green bias, but it's super choppy overall. Fair. Look for fake trends to attempt to draw in and trap traders before a change in direction occurs. It's a day to sell rallies and buy dips. Price action should be direct. Tuesday. Some of it's direct, some of it's not. I don't know. It's a price action is sideways so far. Well, sell rallies and buy dips. I guess that means flat, which is where we are. Tuesday. Oh, Queen to 3 shows an attempt to restart. This could bring a reversal. Wands are impulsive, and the 3 suggests rapid expansion. Therefore, trend is very likely, and that means chasing Momo for the day. In the off chance a trend fades early, then I would bail and sit it out. All right. Wednesday. Was it 9? I thought it was 10 of swords. Wednesday. 3 to 9 brings back swords energy, but in the form of continuation. So whose nightmare was it? Look for an overnight gap that puts traders at their emotional limit before the winds shift and the nightmares depicted by this card evaporate into nothing. All right. In other words, don't chase the gap, wait for it to reverse and follow that. If it's in the direction of Tuesday, then it's even better. I have gap rolls. We don't need, I thought she was going to do a lot better. But not too bad. Not too bad. NVIDIA 213, man, still at the highs. Holy moly. So Thursday, 3 of Cups is party time, which means we're celebrating something. This card's positive bias says there might be news or a change in conditions that take the pressure off. I can see Tuesday, Wednesday, red, and Thursday green. However, the opposite could hold true as well. So she has no idea. I mean, I hate it when she does that, guys. I just hate it. Emotional damage for sure. Cups are slow flowing and difficult to day trade. Oops. Where'd you? Sorry. So you'll probably have to pick a side and stick with it. All right. Well, she's not giving me any help here. I think my drawing was probably better. Friday, Ace of Pentacles. Look for a mean reversion in the form of chop. It smells like a call put killing day. So sell rallies and buy dips. Maybe play both sides as an option seller. A boring close to the week. She says a boring close to the week. All right. We'll see. Plenty of energy to follow this week, but choppy days may wear you out early. This is the kind of week where you pick a few sessions to play and take, hey, if I can relate to this. So I definitely think that this is the way this week for sure. But who knows? What is Poet doing? I don't even know. I mean, did you really own a lot of it? Like, you couldn't have owned a lot of it. It was just this price the other day. But yeah, Poet is like absolutely decimated. This is the craziest stuff, man. Like, you look at these kind of charts and you're like, the thing was up. The thing was up like 16% in the pre-market. And then I don't even know what the headline exactly was. 15% in the pre-market. And then just flash crash all the way down to what today? 50%, which happens to be where it was last Monday. So, are you really that upset? Maybe if you bought it on Tuesday at 10 and didn't sell it up here, for sure. Or if you tried to go long at 11, for sure, or 12, maybe. But I don't know. That doesn't seem like anything out of the norm for a stock like Le Poet. So, news driven. By the way, I think this is coming soon. We have a meetup. What's the date today? Today's date is the 27th. It's not this weekend, but it's next weekend. So if anybody's in Chicago, I'll drop this link in the chat. I will be there. And yeah, so this is going to be May 9th. Dude, he does these meetups like he's a night owl or something. I got kids. I go to bed by like 8 p.m. my time, but it is what it is. It's all good. But it's Saturday, May 9th. Mother's Day is Sunday. So we'll be taking a quick flight out. But I think I'm going to head in on Friday night and then be there Saturday. But he's got rooms available. I don't know if anybody eats breakfast at these things, but yeah, so I don't know. Expires. So the room deal might have gone away, but you can call them and ask. Marriott Chicago downtown River North. So that's where we'll be. So again, if you're in Chicago, would love to see you guys. Me and the crew, myself, Amit, and I think a couple others also will be there. I think Steve's going to be there as well. All right, so let's get to the charts. Look at Microsoft ripping, trying, MP. All right, so my first look every day when I get in, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see this, is a 30-minute chart. A little something like this. Right now, we're going to try to get to the highs. Diamond's pulling back a little, crude. I am short GDX. We can look at gold here. Biddy, man, this thing. So, oops. Bitcoin, I don't know. I kind of have like a bone to pick with Bitcoin because I don't know if anybody saw that this last week, but as long as it was holding over 76,050, this thing was looking real good. I mean, real good. And at least to 79. And then it was really like, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see how it does from there. It got to 78.5, just barely 79. I don't know what it is about that like round number, but slaps us with a double top this weekend. Literally, I think it was Sunday night, and the whole cryptoverse like shatters and the bottom falls out which felt like a bit of a flash crash, like boom, boom. But I think if you're actually looking at the cryptoverse from a longer term perspective, yes, it's a double top here. 78.5 is a big deal. I will say it's a very big deal. But I do think that this is way more constructive. So if this can hold 76, and I know there's a lot of lines on this chart. Let me take this off. The 76 is a reclaim of really take my drawings off, of a, how do we call it? From this low to this high, 76 area is about like the 618 level. So that's what that is. It's important. I don't need this one anymore. Take off some of these drawings. We know this trend is broken. So yeah, we just have a couple. So there's a box here. It takes me down to 76,000 and change. And this box was support. And again, measuring from this swing low to this swing high, which is, I'm not sure, like the best one to draw from. Quite frankly, like you probably should, let's go ahead and do it, right? Let's draw it from here. From that lower one, it was good. Well, this is actually even more constructive, quite frankly. This is definitely more constructive. So if I go from the proper anchor, which is 15,000, believe it or not, 15,000 low, 57,000 to 54,000 is what we would call like a golden pocket from a technical perspective, where a lot of traders are watching. And then 70,089, 70,900, call it, is the top of a 50% retracement from that 15,000 low to 126,000 high. So I think this market here is an important one to watch. If I do it this way, what I'd be looking for is for Bitcoin to kind of base and hold to get back up to potentially 100K move by the end of the year. This still puts really like the ideal purchase down into 54s, just under 55. But for right now, this first move is constructive, mostly because it's actually above this prior high of 76,000 even. So if Bitcoin can hold 76K flat right now or thereabouts, let's call it, there's a little zone between 76 to 74. There's a little support area here. If Bitcoin can hold that range, I'm pretty constructive on a potentially sizable dead cat bounce. So I like the setup. I think that if you're thinking that it's going to be like boom, ready to roll, maybe not. But check this out. Here's the prevailing downtrend. What this would look like is something, anything like this would actually take us into that 90, which would also be the 200-day simple. So this is set up in motion right now. That's potentially setting up. If you thought it was just going to go, usually the first push out of a downtrend is something that you'd want to fade, which is what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing this get faded. But as this comes back in, if it can hold this general area and the significant moving averages, and new investors have a chance to get back in, this is how a significant bounce towards the end of the year will get built. And I realize it's like the end of April. I'm talking about the end of the year, but this is how we would build. This is how that would build. So I'm interested in watching this, not for the short term, but for a longer term. Very much a trade that you want to wait and let come to you. But the first signs of like, oh, I want to watch this, we're here. We are here. All right. Yes. So I would agree. MP Materials is going to try. But let's finish out. Sorry. Let's finish out with the indices. So this 712 is last week's high. We'll just go through on a weekly real quick. And My last NFP level was 695. 695 right in here. And we had a couple little levels. So look, I'll tell you what, I've been trading for a while, and I can't really recall the last time we had like such a major 2-week, even this Liberation Day is not anything close to this. The closest thing is, what is this? August 2024. What are these percent? 5% week, followed by a 5% week in August 2024. I don't even know what that is. So this is a 5% week and another 5% week. So August 2024, which I don't even remember what's going on, is the closest thing I've seen to that. And even here, like you pull back a little bit, and it becomes an area of congestion. So I would say like this is best case scenario. Again, back-to-back 5% weeks with some continuation like this. This is the only time it's a very rare thing. Extremely rare. Not even, look at this, not even like COVID. Oh, no, that's 13%. In total, what is this? It's a 15% bounce. And then this is the crazy one. But these weren't 5% weeks. No. This is the first time I've seen this like this in a long time. But still, I would say once we get through NFP in a few days, next week, after next week, this is going to be our support level, 695s to 690 for sure. That's where it is. If I were to take a like fib and measure this, so that's 670, but I can't even. This is just going crazy. We're a little extended. Peak earnings coming. But dude, this market is not showing any signs of stopping. It's just insane. It's insane. I had a counter trend bounce like somewhere in here, but not this much. I did not have this. And there we go. New all-time high. New all-time highs as we speak. Oh, getting faded. I don't know. Is there news? Every time, this is what I'm talking about. This is like, we're getting so squeezy. I'm dropping into smaller charts, but we are getting so squeezy. They instantly faded that. Do you buy this? Wild. Wild, wild, wild. I see some requests coming in, so we'll get to them. But yeah, so that's where we are. I think as long as, let me get you something important. Right now, last week's not actual high, but 712.38 is that high, the absolute high of last week. On my screen, you can kind of see this 710 area. So this is what we call like a point of control right over here, which is essentially what most of the trades went out at, about 710. So any accumulation or whatever it was going on around 710. Volume has been light. I would expect it to kind of pick up. 16 million right now. I don't think that volume really makes that big of a difference at this moment. But again, if we're losing essentially 709, we could see larger pullbacks. But yeah, as long as we're holding that area right now, it's just really hard to be super bearish. You could be not bullish and sell some upside calls, but I need to have what I would call a trigger to short this market. And it's not doing it. Like the closest thing I could think that we would see is something called like a look above and fail, which would look like this and probably chop 712 back down to 702. That's literally the trade, but I would still have to be super cautious, and all these would need to have stops and take profits with re-entries. So I don't have this. The first level is going to be at 715. If we do look above 715, continue on, and then break down below 715 the prior or the following day, that would be the biggest tell. And even then, like I'm saying, I feel like it would be more like sell calls type of market, because this chop is going to probably persist for a while. On the Qs, we are very nearly at my extension levels as well. 675 would be that full extension, 670, 660, 627. So very close to that's extending from this consolidation here. That's what I had in the past. We can actually make this a little bit different and call it from here. Might give me a different, it'll probably give me a different number. So see at 678. Still got room, man. And we're way over on the Qs. So Qs has been a big catch-up trade for sure, no doubt. All right. Oil and oil is at 97s while all this is happening. Look at this. Just insane. Would you sell covered calls here on the Mag 7 to protect against a drop? No, I wouldn't. I don't like to sell cover calls. Like I don't sell calls for income. I just don't. I would, because you always get, there's always a risk of getting called away for sure. So like if I don't trust myself to get into a position where I could potentially get called away in an investment that I don't want to get called away on, and not like over trading or freaking out. I just don't. I don't feel good about that. I have other trades. I don't trust myself to not mess that up. When I do that, I go way far out so that I'm really not at risk of getting called away. So like, I mean, it depends. So like Microsoft, no, I'm not selling any calls here. I'm just not. No. Google, maybe I would, if you're at the highs at this moment, like you're literally at the highs. So like this one makes sense. And I would be selling like at this point, like 375 calls for like way out there. Just again, because I don't want to get called away on a stock that I actually don't want to sell. But we are at the tippy top here, no doubt. No doubt, for sure. And some pretty heavy upside. I have like 360 technically. But look, that's this old measurement. I need to update these measurements too. Yeah, so this would have to be 400 calls I'd have to sell for way out there. Like on Google. That's what I mean. Like, I don't want to sell anything that, if I don't want to get called away, that would put me at risk of actually getting called away. So this would have to be selling like 400 calls for September, maybe. Apple. I wouldn't be opposed to selling like 290 calls on Apple, but that's so exactly that's how I would do it. Amazon, you'd have to do it at your targets. So if you have the right targets and you're set on targets here. So like if this is it's 300s, that would be okay selling. But again, for far enough out that it actually doesn't get called away, and I'd have to also collect enough to do that it would do some actual damage control. So again, not necessarily for income. Trading, different story. Okay, a couple of people asked for Enphase. I think it is a wrong stock, wrong time. I'll be just straight up. I don't think that you want to look at Enphase unless you have like multi years time horizon. Look at the stock and the lawsuit value. No, I can't. I don't have time for that one. If anyone wants to look at it, I can just look at technicals. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to mix technicals and fundamentals. Like if you use multiple logics like that, like something undervalued or whatever this was, it was value, and when black increased their position, I don't know when they did, but look, this is just okay. I don't think that this is one that you would really want to sell calls on, because it would be, again, super parabolic if it does. He's got to get over the 200, and then it's into the 40s. It's into the 40s. Right here, look, as long as holding 36s, it's constructive. It's currently about 35. We do have a break of structure over 34. So technically, when you lose this area, you should go down to like some kind of the low right before the absolute low. You got very close to it. I would say like support is in this area, but whoever you're talking about that bought the stock, like I don't base my decisions based on other people's like ideas, and I don't think that should be a premise of anyone's trading logic either. Like you have to have it as your own, because you don't know why people bought this stock or that stock. You don't know their time horizon. This doesn't really matter. Can you please show the adjusted? I think you mean volatility. So go into the server, which again, it's the descriptions in the description. If you're looking for stuff like this, like in the description of this show is a link to our server. The server is free to join. You should be there, and you can ask me anything like that whenever you want. And honestly, I'm there like 24/7 or most of the time. So like, and if it's not me, there are a bunch of other people that know these systems. Someone already asked in the server. So like, I can tell you, I already answered that in the server. I'm going to scroll up really quick. Qualcomm. Look, so Qualcomm, actually, so in our group, I posted this update in the morning. It was like, look, I was actually already at my target. So 160 first target. I'm like, man, this thing's opening up right into resistance, just over the 200 day. And if you pull back, zoom out a little bit, actually we can go on a weekly. You can see where that, let me just clean this up a bit, where that resistance is. So hitting this overhead resistance doesn't look so bad on a weekly chart now, does it? You can kind of tell, look, you know, something's going to happen. It's huge, like 30% in the last 2 days, but entry was coming off of 130s, right? So like, again, if you're in our private group, we're like the paid group, this is the stuff that we send out, that I send out. But I mean, from 130 coming out of this zone right here, that was the logic. It's done it multiple times, 1, 2 here in the past. So we know that this is like an inflection point. One day like today is not going to change the story for me at all. I guess and this does not look red. This actually looks like it's getting bought up as we speak. And from this low to that high right now, it's a 146. And I put out a note this morning that we're probably going to, at these levels, we're probably going to fill the gap. At 146, if it's holding that, yeah, we're fine. I'm fine. And especially, what is that? 149s. Look at this. That's that prior top. We basically just tapped that. Just tapped that right there. We're at 149 right now. Yeah, so this looks like it's on the mend. It's a big gap up, usually cheat code, if you're over 140, call it 150, that's this morning's session gap. Yeah, this is trading over 150. You're back on the mend. You go 153, and then again back into the 160 plus overhead resistance, where I would expect it to get challenged until it finally can come out. But this target is like Marvell. It was always like Marvell. The target's not even for this year. Target threes is into the threes, but this is not a trading position really for me. It's leaps, but look, you got to take a little profit after a 30% run in 2 days. I don't mind them. Yen carry blow up. Yeah, I was getting this freaking alert left and right last week. Yeah, so the nukes are the nukes, Mr. Carl. All the nukes are running today. UEC is massive squeeze setup, zero question to me at all. So I think this is all going to go into that same kind of like scarce materials type play. This is, again, I think they're all going to trade as a group, generally speaking. We're out of the downtrend. No question to me there. If you're not familiar, this is that prior downtrend. We're over all significant simple moving averages, and these SMAs are literally starting to expand as we speak. So very possible that these kind of trades can see new all-time highs. Not a joke. On just vibes alone from the market, but the trajectory is there. New all-time highs would be in the 25s. Does this get there based on fundamentals? Couldn't tell you. I'm not even talking about that. But in order for that to happen, you have to get through 16 first, and then just under 18 is your next resistance. So if you're a bear, you're hanging out right around the 1750 level, right around the 17 level, sorry, right over here. So where they sold it down in the past, you gotta be mindful that they could be hanging out right here still. All of this, anywhere in here. But 15, look, that's that first level. You're just about 16. You're not even there yet. This should at least get there. If not, try a little harder. When it gets through this, then you can go to the next targets. But yeah, I like the setup for sure. LEU is another one. Enphase Energy, another nuke that's been going. I think this whole sector is going to catch a little bit of a bid. This guy's doesn't have earnings till the end of the month or the beginning of next month. I'm just going to assume there's 4 U's. UUUUU. All like super similar setup to UEC. Not GEG. This is it's not different. BW. There's one that I've been buying more recently because I mean the nuclear names are super speculative, but BWX. This guy reports early May. It's on support. It's clear uptrend, like healthier charts, not the slingshot type setup as the others. But these guys make similar to GE Vernova, not as big. Well, nothing really beats GEV, so I'll say that. But they make all the piece parts to convert nuclear into energy. So this is kind of a catch-all picks and shovels play for nuclear. If you didn't know this ticker, now you do. But this looks good to me as long as it's holding this 200 area, 215s. Probably good. Bloom, I can't believe this thing is still going. I mean, just insane. There's a lot of nukes that are looking decent for sure. But Enphase, per the request, is a different story. So this is like, if you want to be an Enphase you'd want to be in Enphase for the storyline of like, okay, nuclear is not going to be here for a decade. Current power constraints are real. And if and when the data centers actually start storing their own energy, they will store energy with Enphase gear. And that's the storyline on Enphase. I think last quarter there was some kind of rumor about them getting into the data center space. So that's that's the thing. I know like Generac is in the space for sure that does exactly the same thing as it's a knockoff, but it's a bigger company. This is why these companies did all this in the past too. Not for this use case, but a different use case as a whole. And there's a couple other, like, I'd have to think off the top of my head. But there's a lot of these. This whole idea is like, that's one way to play it. Enphase is the one that hasn't gone. NRG just reported there's semis in the power space. Power semis, like there's all kinds of stuff. All right, gonna go back down to the bottom of the chat. Yeah, so like Bloom is addressing power now. Cadence, look, again, if you're in our private group, I was like buying on every pullback. I just like did my last buy like not even that long ago, 300s. Huge recovery, Cadence. This one reports tonight. I'm not going to speculate on price action, but what I will say is that you cannot make a semiconductor, period, without using either Cadence or Synopsys software. So like in the middle of the SaaS apocalypse, Cadence and Synopsys, to me, those were the ones that was like, okay, this is dumb. You know, realistically, I just like these companies are going to last. I'm not really that worried about it. Synopsys coming off this lows. Synopsys is not as clean of a trade as Cadence because they've had some other acquisitions. But Cadence is like the pure play. Like this is the one. So they report tonight. We'll have to see how it does, but it's already on the mend. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. That you guys don't even understand how many AI power consumption plays there are. It's insane. Mandeep, someone asked this earlier. You have to go into the server. It's free. You can ask there or scroll up. I already answered this a couple times. But I just, it's in the description. Hop into the server. Again, server's free, guys. If you come in, you can talk to me forever. You keep talking, and I may or may not answer, but somebody will. But if you scroll up, search my messages. I did give that. SoFi and Rocket Lab. So Rocket Lab, I don't mind. So space is a thing. It's a whole nother theme, similar to data centers. It's not as clean of a theme. It's very nuanced, extremely nuanced. I've been thinking about this for a while. And I think I have a general catch-all as well. But I mentioned Garmin and I mentioned some other stuff. But there is just let me see it, Billy. You won't believe this. There's a piece on in the space stack. If you were to do a similar logic to how for anyone in our group, how I've laid out the AI data center build out logic, you can apply that thought process to space as a whole. There's similar bottlenecks. It's nothing as clean as like saying power is everything. Like you can say power is everything for for data centers, but nothing that clean. But I'll go into this in a second. So Rocket Lab here, 77.86 was a good spot. That's just from this swing high to this swing low right here. That is that's holding. That would hold a bearish retracement. So as long as it's over that, I think that would generally be the low. If it can't hold that, about 77s, then it is probably coming back into the 70s. But again, even still, that doesn't really break the thesis on Rocket Lab like this. There's a handful of situations here, like Rocket Lab. Yeah, so from the space theme, you can look at it multiple ways, but I'd say one, we obviously have we have SpaceX IPO coming, right? And that's very, very soon. I think that's very soon. I think what people aren't really talking about, like, is that one of the reasons that Rocket Lab and ASTS have had the success from a price appreciation perspective that they had, and this is maybe a little extra saucy that I'm giving away for free, but in like 2025, there was a change in Trump. Trump changed the policy to make the bidding for government projects. He gave a preference to commercial companies over the legacy, what we would call primes. And in doing so, it's like NASA acquisition reform. In doing so, so many other things changed. I think the first is like EO 14271, EO 14335. Look at this. This is, oh man, executive order. There's a lot of executive orders. They're expanding the Space Force, the Golden Dome, and now commercial companies are available or able to really elevate their status within the government procurement process, which they really could never do before. There's a NASA like ignition initiative. Supposedly Artemis 3, we're going to the moon in 2028. We got lunar outposts and stuff happening like at the end of the decade. There's a lot of stuff, but commercial companies can now really capture some of this stuff where they wouldn't have been able to do it like that before. They would have had to go through Lockheed Martin. They would have had to go through Northrop Grumman and maybe contract with them. But so between that and specifically like Rocket Lab, what they did was they purchased, and it was somewhere down here, in here, they purchased a company called Mynaric, which is optical comms. And that is the biggest piece. So if a company is getting into optical comms, not the same as data center stuff, that they're just getting their stocks are just ripping because it's a similar bottleneck. Closest thing to like power is everything in the space sector, at least. And there's a handful of them. This one. This was the catalyst. So they purchased this company, and that was actually the biggest catalyst. And so that changed the story for Rocket Lab. And so it allows them to do all these launches and things like that. So there's another company, Teledyne, which is, near monopoly on some of this stuff as well. This is like probably going to go in your never sell bucket if you own Teledyne. Probably a slower mover because the market cap's so massive, but what's 30 billion? It's not even that bad. This is I think this is Teledyne. I always think, is Teledyne Aerojet Rocketdyne? I think it is Aerojet Rocketdyne also. So watch, what else? Carmen Holdings, watch for sure. Same space. Look at this. It's a space theme. CACI, I think is the other one. So any of the space crew probably know these names, but it's not like, so we're not going to do ONDOS or anything like that. Yeah. And there's one thing, this microchip company has like a dual stack. It's actually, I think this could be another sleeper. Maybe not on earnings. It's already had a massive move, but I don't think it's done. This is another big turnaround story, but not only do they play in the same space as like On Semiconductor, Texas Instruments, but they also have a place in the space race, believe it or not. So there you have it. I'm just gonna go through. I ran these things, yeah, not today. Eventually, maybe, but look, if you're a trend follower, that's fine. So I had in our group, we had 53. This level here was our target, near 55s, 53 into this area. That's resistance. Look, you didn't get through, so you don't get the push through. That's not happening right now. Right now, you have to expect maybe 41 is still support. 42s, this area here. So you'd have to look for this to be support. It's not broken by any means, but like from a day-to-day perspective, look, it literally tagged that bear zone, like overhead resistance, 53s, target acquired. If you didn't have a trade planned out beforehand, this is what happens, and you get caught off guard. But we definitely had that as a target. It's not until this gets through 60 that, all right, we can see, hey, look, we're off to the races to hundreds, which is maybe what some people are talking about. I will say it's possible, but you got to get through earnings on this stuff. It's got to get through earnings, and this has to look like this from a trajectory perspective, and that is how it would get in there. If Iren is to be the next multi-bagger, for sure, but not yet. Nebius, I think, is ooh. Whoa. Nobody asked me about this. Why? What's wrong with you guys? I didn't see Nebius. This is correct. Nobody asked about. This is as textbook break, retest, and hold as you can get. 141. If you're going at 200s, post earnings, this is what you want to see hold. You want to see this general area hold. That's a textbook bullish hold. Anything in here for maybe post earnings, that's textbook pullback. Very good structure. Where were you guys on this one? Just saying. It's right there. It's right there. This is a good one. There you go. Cool. I mean, up here at the highs, but they came back in. That's a good hold. BOS break of structure. So like if this is a structural break, it's in the series of highs and lows. When we talk about this stock is making higher highs and making higher lows, if this is the last high here, the break of this structure is 141 and it made a new high. So on a pullback, what you'd like to see is you'd like to see a lower high set somewhere in this general area for this new trend to continue on. So this would be higher low, right? Higher high from here. but it's not, this is not really a higher high. It's higher than this high, but it's not higher than that high, right? So now this is definitely higher than that high. And so you just want to have a higher low show up somewhere in this area, and then you'd expect another higher high. That's what we mean by structure. It's with that series of highs and lows that you're looking at when we're talking about reading price action and things like that. Super important, core to everything in trading, literally core to everything. But when people say they're trading price action, they're talking about this. They're talking about that series of highs and lows. And where if this new breakout is to hold, where could a higher low be, and where is it most likely to be? This is just one spot, but I mean, geez, that's the first spot right there. Amkor, you're in the right space. This guy, I think these report. Yeah, look at this. Look, report tonight. Is this right? If you're not sure to check your stock, just so you know, you always go ticker, investor relations. You got to go directly to their sites. Upcoming events, 4/27, 5 p.m. Eastern. That is literally tonight. So Amkor tonight, confirmed for you. So massive run. Always expect a little bit of profit taking like this as we get into it. You're very extended, but again, this is one of those spots where, like, yeah, even if this pulls back to what, 65, like this one, this is going to be a guess because it's had such a massive run. Like, even if this does like that, you're okay, which is 60s. But something like Amkor has the possibility of like just absolutely ripping and resetting and going into straight price discovery. Same thing with ASE right here. Same thing, both packaging. JBL is different. Jabel. This is the data center design thing. I mean, the problem with just doing TA is that, like, okay, this sector, bros, I don't see cup and handle. I mean, maybe if you're going a monthly. Yeah, I see it on this monthly, but and that's holding as long as, look, 43. That is so yes, it is a massive cup and handle. But trades like this take years to play out. I mean, years. So they don't play out anytime. This is like gold, had the same, I mean, near exactly, massive cup and handle. So, but if you, and pros is like the equivalent of right here on gold. It was 3 years later that it actually broke out. And it didn't make it on the first try, and it pulled back and made a new low. But look at what happens. So when you're looking at something like that on a monthly scale, it's a good spot. The breakout's over 80, 81. So when it finally does, like, you can look at it like this, right? You could do all that. That could go a long time. But if you like bros, yeah, it's consumer staples. So I'm not really sure. It's not in the right, it doesn't have a theme right now. Unless we could look at Starbucks, but it's holding $43 as support right in here. It's holding that well. Actually, if I want to look at coffee, we should probably look at Starbucks. And Starbucks is he doing anything similar? Kind of, sorta. From that perspective. Actually, But they also got Brian Nichols, one of the greats. It's had a big move from these lows, but it's not actually taken off yet. So over 100, you get another pumper. And this is heavy consolidation. Interesting. I would look at it like this. Like this and that is what I would see. First break faded. Not horrible. Actually looks pretty good on the weekly. If this holds like 95s, it might be good. Again, something that you could have a lot of patience with. Tesla fighting back. Look, whoa, she is. Holy shamole. Oh my God, 365, I missed it. I said on Tuesday, 365. No matter what happens, it's 365, 365, 365, 365. And there it is. Son of a biscuit. And I missed it this morning. Are you joking? This is what happens, you guys. This is what happens when you don't put an alert. Oh my God, what a miss. I would have made so much money just now. I'm so upset, you guys. So pissed. Did anybody just like crush Tesla today? Amit asked me, my buddy who I stream with, Tuesday. It was like, what do you think is going to happen to Tesla? And I said, I don't think it matters. It's like, it should make it to 415. But even if it gets to 415 post earnings, it got to 4 something. It'll probably just come back to test 365, or it gaps down to 365 and then makes a run for it. Nice. I got one share. Somebody crushed it. Yes. All options. Yeah, man. This, I'm telling you, dude, a Tesla 0-day option would make you go crazy today. Like, forget owning stocks. Just go Tesla 0-day option. You look at this setup, you're like, oh, 4,000 or 5,000%, maybe something like that. We can look at these in a little bit. 1,100%. There you go. There you go. Lance crushed it. I love to hear it. Yeah, man. This is the issue. No, dude, buy Tesla. We're not talking about buying. You could have bought, I think it was 365 anyways. I honestly think it was that. Like, there was so many reasons that it would have been, could have been that. Like, regardless, this red line here, prevailing downtrend. Again, what do we always say? The first breakthrough of that prevailing downtrend is nice, but that's not like, I know they teach you that on like the YouTubes. That's not how we do it. By the way, if you want to learn how this stuff really works, School of Gains is the way. Usually we fade the first one and we're looking for this retest. And I want confluence with what? This is a fib from this low to that high. Dude. So perfect. So many people ask me what an A+ setup is. That, my friends, was an A+ setup. Oh, well. Oh, well. So now you just want to see it hold somewhere in here. You still might see 365, who knows? But it doesn't have to stop. It can just keep going. 370s would be a higher low from here. Yeah. It's not a short until you're below 360s. If you're below 360, it's a big short. But again, why that was the level, I kind of just gave it to you. Tessie. You know, easy come, easy go, as they say. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. Who knows? Oh my God. 380 calls in the money. Okay. Oh, hold on. So before I go Boeing, Rusty, dude, amazing. So Siri, my phone goes off when I say Siri. I think Verizon had a thing. So Siri is in a. I don't know that you need to go into Siri here now. I would definitely wait post earnings if you really like it. And this is a slow moving stock, so you'd want it to. What's the word? You'd want to be super patient. What I can say is like sub 23 is your support area, but this is the beginnings of a larger breakout. It is. I think there's some weird stuff going on with satellite stuff. Verizon, AT&T, sourcing like ASTS, like later. Still holding, by the way, but there's maybe a space angle here. I'm not joking. I don't know. You'd have to look into it. I have not really looked into it, but from a technical perspective, I know this is a very weird looking chart. It has to get over 29 and hold, which is exactly where it hit the top just the other day on the 20th. So that is overhead resistance. If it can get through this area, it's a range. So I say 29, but in reality, like technicals or we will outline zones, if you will. So overhead resistance is between 29 to 3160. Sounds like a lot. It is a lot. But what I'm saying here is that if it can hold 29, it should be going to 3160. And if it holds 3160, 41 is where you go. That's the trajectory. I think this is 36, like IPO or something level. In between, you have a little bit of a pivot here, but that's what you would be looking at. This is a very long-term chart, so you're talking a year or two for that to play out. And yes, congrats to everybody on the Tessie. I'll get to this next, but I'm going to first do Boeing. So Boeing, different look. I like Boeing a lot. So Boeing got through earnings. Look at this. 70% beat. Is that right? This is a turnaround story in progress. I don't think you sleep on Boeing this year. I really don't. I've not slept on Boeing for a long time, but I think for me personally here, after this earnings, for Boeing to quietly do this, holding 230, doesn't even matter to me if it's holding 230 or not, but the fact that it didn't get absolutely decimated is a turnaround story. It's a big turnaround story. It's an old prime from a space perspective, so there's somewhat of that theory. It's got a lot of work to do, but I'll zoom out to a monthly just so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So we have what's called a broadening range. Here we are through the center line, 212. Look. If we can get through 235 and hold it, it's a very big deal. So from a trend perspective, so through 235 and hold it. Yeah, call it 240 if you want to be really cautious. This thing is gearing up for something wild over the next couple of years. So like a massive turnaround story in play. It's already been years in play. So I'll just say this, for the last 3 years, it's been a turnaround story, but we're actually starting to see stuff, new CEO, blah, blah, blah. look, this was 450 before the crashes of way back when. 267 is where historical overhead resistance has been. What I'm looking at now is like, if you're thinking about stocks that are based on some of these requests, these are stocks that you would be looking for investments on, not even leaps, because I don't know that 2028 is soon enough. But yeah, you could be looking at a $600 stock in the next 5-10 years, 3 to 5 years. If this actually does, it's a cash flow story, a full-blown turnaround. If this accelerates from here, you just don't want to sleep on it. That's all I can say. Watch it like a hawk. Don't ever take it off your list again because you got too upset because it gaps too much for you or whatever. Put it back on the trade list. Take it off the no trade list. I know it's on a lot of people's no trade lists, but yeah, there's something interesting happening with Boeing. Hoodie, look, Hoodie is interesting here. And so far, she's like barely holding on. She reports in a little bit. So this is going to come to earnings. This is reporting tomorrow after hours. I have no idea what's going to happen. What I would say is 75 is the downside on Le Robinhood, the hood of the Robins, and remains 98.87 to have a gap available to fill, which is also overhead resistance. So even if Le Hoodie pulls back a little bit, this is still potentially in play. I can't see it pull back too much like this. That's still available. By the way, this would just be a retest of the existing downtrend. It's not out of the weeds yet. So I don't know that Robinhood is a this year story at all. Like, it could take this entire year to base, very possible, in a very large range, call it from like 50s to hundreds. But from a chart perspective, it needs to, it still is breathing. And I'm not really sure what Vlad could say on earnings for that to really change. Even if March Madness is great, doesn't matter for this earnings report, because what's next from a contract or whatever trading perspective. If they say that the crypto contracts, prediction markets are like crushing it, which they probably are, that's going to be nice. The only thing that they could really say is like, we're releasing perpetual futures on equities. Like, that's the next thing I want to hear about. They're not talking about Robinhood Social. Honestly, I kind of feel like that might be a flop, which is what's got me a little bit more concerned, because that was supposed to have already been released by now, and the fact that it's not, their release cadence is lacking at the moment. So I'm not excited about Robinhood. I like it. I love it, but I don't know that it's done. And I definitely don't know that it's ready to break out. It's like, what could they possibly say other than we're releasing perpetual futures on equities, which I don't think that they physically can, like, would really change, would be yet another game changer. Eventually they probably will do that. And they will eventually probably like change the whole landscape one more time. But we're not necessarily there yet. And if this pops up to 100 and doesn't hold after earnings, that would be a little bit more concerning. But I like it. Still my largest holding, but not nearly as massive as it was. I think we'll have to see. But that's my take on the hoodie right now. If it gets up to 100 and it doesn't hold, that's more cause for concern that we could see this 7 regardless. So like, even if it does something like this, is kind of like my point, hits this, boom, boom, we're going to see that again. And so, while it might feel good in the near term, I don't want to see that, because that's very much what could potentially happen, and that as it continues to try to get out of its own way. So that's where I'm at. I'd be selling maybe like $75 puts if I can get something really good for it, and I'd be selling $100 calls on this one. just because, again, for very far out. Actually, I took down my calls, so like I kind of wanted it to bounce a little bit more. I might do that after earnings. I'd sell calls after earnings. I'd sell calls after earnings, and I'll sell puts before earnings because I don't want to get called away. This is exactly, I wouldn't want to get called away on my hoodie. I just wouldn't. I would be pissed. So no short calls over earnings for me. Happy to sell some $75 puts, but and then we'll sell calls against post earnings regardless. SoFi, look, SoFi is good. There's a lot of stuff going on with SoFi. FinTech, she has an upside here of 23. I don't trade this one with options just at this price point, just because the volatility gets a little unreliable. And how I just walk through Hood is how I would play my investments. So like if I don't want to get called away on cover calls, I would not sell cover calls ahead of earnings, like in general, against an investment, specifically against an investment. This is 23. So 23.80 upside on SoFi. Does she hold it after hours? We do not know. $23.83 upside on SoFi. Also massive overhead resistance. Also your 200-day SMA expected to get absolutely slapped when it gets there, if it gets there, without a doubt. To where, you ask? To exactly where it sits today. to 1950. So that's where we are. This is in a very squeezy, temporary squeeze setup, not a lasting squeeze setup. I mean, so was the index also. So like, no, I didn't see the index going to new all-time highs that quickly. So I could, you never know. I guess this goes up to 2650, but I wouldn't even get close to pushing it there. 2380s. That's what I have. SoFi, from a downside perspective, I mean, the downside is and was 14, very close to it. So from here, if it does totally, dump, it's going to be around sub 17 down to 14, 17 to 14 as your support. So a lot of these are setting up right now, honestly, to be more like sell puts ahead of earnings if you're doing the cash secured stuff. And I would be very cautious about selling calls, because some things are like this. Like ServiceNow, if you sold puts post earnings, like you'd have been fine. Even if you sold puts like at 99 and you got enough time out of it, like, yeah, you'd be down negative. But if you actually, I don't know that you would be, you'd probably be okay. ServiceNow. So no. So the problem, even with this pop ahead of, someone asked about what a BOS is before break of structure. That's what you have to see. So you have to see before you can think, before you can even kind of think that a bottom is in, you have to see a new high on the structure. So that's 105.56. Like if this was the prior high here, this didn't even come close. Like this needed to get through 140, this pop, even though it was done going down for a while, and you get a little push up too, but it gets a push up to what? To prior support, which becomes future resistance, and it's all downhill from there. So again, if you just look at this chart for a second, it is nothing but a series of lower highs and lower lows. So for that reason, like technically speaking, just because you have like a little period of like, okay, well, we're not going down, which happens all the time, right? Like it happens all the time. And yes, this is a higher low, but I just don't have anything close to a higher high, like at all. So no, I have no interest here from any perspective, investing or trading. It's too beat up to like be like, oh, I wanna short it or I want to trade it. It's not, it doesn't have enough strength for me to want to go long. It would have to be over call it 110. I would call it 110 for a while for me to even consider trading this to the upside. I don't like it. Maybe it goes, but this could take a couple of years. Really could take a couple of years. Like even if I did it from this perspective. Yeah, upside's like 127 to 130 here. So that's your trade. It's not, I don't see a full recovery. That'd be 25%. So over 105 to 130, but that's tradable. I don't see a bottom in sight yet. 70s. I don't see it in sight. I think the same is going to go for CRM too. It's like I would like it. So like you can take a shot at it. Short-term trades, fine, absolutely. Trim as you go, no problem. Basing in these kind of basing situations, you'll get some pops, but it's not like I want to go out and put like a ton of cash behind these because they're guesses. So again, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I have a higher low, but that's because we have earnings coming. So it's done going down for right now until the next headline comes out, but it's definitely not really going up either. This got to get over 200 at minimum. And I'm not really missing anything 170 to 200. I'll let that go to feel better, sleep better at night. Like you guys are all in the data center stack. Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA, of course, it's no brainer. I don't know what you want. Like, so this is cool. I had 206s, but the second that went through 206, you're here, all-time high. 219, what's this from? It's from this extension here. Do a lot of you guys own this or not? From this guy. This happens every time we get into earnings season. When the Mag 7 starts to, like, when they get close to reporting, NVIDIA runs. So this has it into 230s, potentially. That's up here. 240s. Into 240s. Maybe 260. But that's the trajectory that this is going to give as long as it holds really at 206. I don't know that this actual top matters that much. This is just in force, we call it. So it's a current move that's happening as we speak. Little bit of a squeeze play. When it's done, of this push, anything holding in here is fine. I think you're fine. No problem here. That probably helps the broad index. Yeah, you're definitely squeeze play. Although I don't know how violent a squeeze can be on a is it over 5 trillion now? 5.25 trillion market cap. You just don't want to see it lose the top. Like you don't want to see it lose 200s ever again. So hopefully 200s are gone for life. But yeah, NVIDIA booming. I'm scrolling down. Fastly having a little bit better day today. In the midst of some SaaS sell-off. This is my new position. One of many new positions. Wow, we're doing real good today. 8% on the day. How you like that? I like that. Real good today. So nice to see that. I had 23s as this near-term support. Look, it's getting better. Over 24, it's out of the zone. This was support near term. Just added some fresh leapers. I like this one. This one is very nuanced, but it is the edge, if you will. I don't think there's any question that, so like the CDNs have got pulled back a bit. This is getting real squeak. Oh, dude, this could get crazy. So right now it's earnings pop. So we got earnings coming. So you got to wait for that. The CEO though is, you guys don't know, the new CEO of Fastly is the old SVP of Cisco Networking. So the current CEO of Fastly came from Cisco Networks, Cisco. He was the SVP of networking, and he came in somewhere around here as a product manager, as like the product manager. And he built this product called AI Accelerator, which helps do caching at the edge, which is what Fastly does. They're the edge. They're the edge of the data center, not the edge of the client. But anyways, it's a unique product to them. And then he became the CEO of Fastly. So the guy who built this new product called, and you could look it up, AI Accelerator, is now in charge of taking that same product to market. And I really like that dynamic. And so they got some traction over here. Plus the whole space got traction of API calls. So AI does about 100 times more API calls than a human being ever did. And Fastly, Akamai, and Cloudflare, kind of sort of Cloudflare, but Fastly and Akamai are the companies that will route that API call traffic. And Fastly is a consumption-based model from a business perspective. So think about that. Fastly model, like the business of Fastly is going to get somewhere between 10 and 100 times more volume, or i.e. revenue and margin with zero extra effort based on AI. What I was talking about earlier, this thing called AI Accelerator, it's a product that's unique to them. They don't have a lot of what we call points of presence. They have 80, but they're planning on expansion versus, as an example, Akamai has 4,000. And this is a legacy CDN. So meaning they're not cloud native. Fastly is the only cloud native content delivery network. It's the only one. These guys, Akamai, probably not a bad company either, by the way. And probably not a bad pickup either. Have an official partnership with NVIDIA to put their GPUs at the edge as well. Fastly does not have that, so that's one up for Akamai, and they're a massive. They're the biggest footprint in the space. Cloudflare, not so much. I mean, yes, but no. Cloudflare's business is not content delivery. It is a newer part of their business that they're trying to scale as some of their older businesses fade away or lose traction. And so Cloudflare has about 300 points of presence versus, again, also Fastly's 80. But this is not a pure play by any means. This is multifaceted. It's very nuanced, and CDN is such a minute, microscopic piece of their current revenue that it's just going to get drowned in the rest of the noise here. But Cloudflare doesn't look bad either. I like Fastly. It's one of two pure plays, the only cloud native with a unique call option on that product called AI Accelerator. But regardless, I think to me, this 10x plus traffic on API calls is a given. That I think the market is, to me, it's like a 100% certainty that this is happening, and it's already happening. To me, the market isn't 100% on that. Like it's it's like a maybe, which is why we've seen like a massive move. This is like a $4 billion, sub 4 billion, $3.9 billion market cap. It's like a, oh, okay, well, it could happen, potential thing, which is why you get this massive run. To me, this is a dead certainty. Whether or not the stock market actually, celebrates them for that, I don't know. But that's where I'm at. So like, yes, I think it's a foregone conclusion that they'll tend to way more than 10x their revenue and margin just based on AI traffic alone. But that extra product is a potential major thing. Oscar, is healthcare going? I mean, UNH looks good in general. Big earnings. So UNH looks good, but it's not. It just needs like a month to cool down. It didn't. You get one shot from me on to push through the highs. Oscar, no. It's good. That's a profit taking spot. I don't know the ACA schedule right now, but this boom right here, that's massive overhead supply. 1750. So like anybody that got caught here, bag holding, or here, bag holding, now has a potential to exit stage left with a near scratch if they felt that this was an opportunity cost holding for the last 4 to 5 months, which maybe it was. So you have to be very in tune with the release schedule of the government updates for ACA subsidies. I am not, so I don't know if there's something happening, and if there is something happening or to come other than earnings, like that's why the stock would be moving, but I don't know. So if there is, it could probably go a whole lot more, but if there's not, it's probably nice, but not something to chase. I don't trust. Look, Microsoft's like, no. So like, I trust Microsoft. I'm telling you, I trust Cadence and I trust Synopsys. So like, if those get slapped on earnings, Cadence reports tonight, dude. Those are the mains. Those are the mains to me. This is how it is. IGV as a whole, I am short IGV as a whole, but not because like the chart is really bearish, but it's like as we go into peak earnings, like if I wanted to take a broad hedge, if you will, and say, okay, what's the one hedge? Like, is it, you're not going to short, I'm not going to short semis. Like, I'm not doing that, right? I'm not going to short QQQ. Look at NVIDIA. But I could buy some puts that are relatively inexpensive because IGV has gone nowhere for like the last 90 days. It's more or less gone nowhere. I could buy some like $75, $80 puts for a few months out on something like an IGV for a broad hedge against the weakest sector. I don't mind that at all. Or sell some $100 upside calls. I like that. I really do like that. And I have that. It's going against me at the moment. But actually, it's not there yet. So we shall see. So this to me, like, I mean, simply on the uptrend, these are the last highs, right? And then low, low, low. So it's a lower high, right? We have a lower low. This is a lower high. So as long as this doesn't get through 87s, I'm not really going to change my tune on that. This right here is structure. That's price action. It's very simple, but you train your eyes to see that higher high and higher low and lower low and blah blah blah. It's not natural for everybody, but if you've been staring at charts for for a decade plus, then it becomes like supernatural. It becomes supernatural. Say like, whoop, right there, that's it. This is it top. She gonna top? I don't know. We'll see. We did not do Reddit. Reddit, though, specifically, I think is close 169.50. So that's the big level. Reddit's one where on earnings she's gonna move. I think pre-earnings, you had a pre-earnings run up. You got right in that 169 overhead supply, tagged it, and then it pulls back and it like tries again. So like the battery RAM went up against the level. 169 is right here. This is kind of like where the prior way back breakdown begins. Somewhere right over here. Right. So that's the breakdown area. It's support here. And that's like the biggest pivot on Reddit as a whole. And I think I gotta pull this back in. Yeah, it's just this general area. So 169, I think it was a pivot right in here. Yeah, so it was this here. Here, it was this guy that I need to watch out for. Kicked it down, but again, if we're doing this downtrend kind of here, this is the prior high. This is a higher high, right? If this is my last low and this is my low before that, this is a higher low, right? This, even though it got decimated, is a higher high. And if this is the low, that's a higher low. So from a trend count perspective, yeah, we good. Does it make it through? I don't know. What I would need to be concerned about here is getting another lower high and then not losing 152. Because if I get a lower high and a lower low like this, then that's going to happen. And that's going to happen at this whatever level is here, 150s. So from here, I don't want to see the 150s get lost. But I own some Reddit, not a lot. It's potential. I really want to see this make a higher high. So like if this does not make a higher high on this push this week ahead of earnings, I might be in more trouble than I'd like to admit. But that's the first step, is getting through that 169, 168 kind of level on the Reddit. You guys are some space numbers for sure. SK Hynix. Do you own this? What is that ticker? It is SK Hynix on TradingView. I thought it was. Where's R? Look at some of these things. Where's SK Hynix? Sterilite, Synopsys. I have this, which is Foxconn. I don't have S. I know I did. I used to. It's like a crazy expensive stock. Let me go up here. KLA. Oh no, where'd it go? Fixed systems. Look at my list of stocks. My list of stocks is better than their list of stocks. I'm looking for the SK. I'm sorry, I don't have it on my thing right now for whatever reason. Either it got taken off or what? Sorry, man. Yeah, so FCX, I'm going to take it down. So FCX had an issue. So they're going to be fine. But FCX got hit for a FCX specific issue. They basically didn't produce. It's not that copper does not have a it's not that copper does not have like this massive demand right now. It's that Freeport had an issue at one of their mines that they cannot produce enough. They cannot produce what the street forecast them to produce until it gets back online. So it's going to take a while. So I was looking at others like SCCO. We know is like crazy one. This is like the purest of the purest plays, but incredibly high valuation. And like there are multiple other options. Let me see. I think BHP was another one. Rio Tinto, I believe, is another one. But what's going on, I think, with FCX, BHP. Oddly enough, is bullish for all the other copper miners. You can do COPX too, but Teck Resources is the one that has the potential, still re-rating 29 billion. Also very good post earnings, so we don't have to deal with any of that. Held the trend perfectly well. So this would be the one that I'm personally going to look at instead of, or in addition to. I'll just like, I still have Freeport. I've actually trimmed, but a couple times and reloaded. But this guy has not really gotten out yet. Very much a pure play, I believe. But post earnings. So I like earnings to be kind of like out of the way, holding 55s right here. I am happy. This is looking like potential breakout through 67. This is going to be pretty solid, I think. At least from a technical perspective, it would be. Everything looks good there. And that gets me to over $100. If it gets like the crazy valuation pop. So that's where I'm at on my copper miners. Little diversification. I think it was Freeport specific. They will recover. Not a big deal. But in the meantime, possibly bullish for the rest of the sector. See, it was here, Teck Resources. I don't know. Why does it say? No. I guess I took, oh, you know what? Because it does this, it's a weird, I can't get it clean. It's not very liquid. It's not liquid. Like I could buy it and it's like $1 million. That's right. What am I, you own this? How many shares you got? It's not optionable for us. But yeah, so this looks good. Totally recovered. It's on a breakout too. So let's say, I think from a technical perspective, I don't own it. So 1245 is what you'd want it to hold. but it's 1.4, 1.3 to 1. That's the trajectory. As long as it holds these areas, this can pull in. As long as it's over 1.25 million, this is fine. Even if it retests 1.25 million, all that means is it's going back to a milli, which it could do that. That's like a 30% or 20% drawdown, and it could still be on pace. Like, that's actually perfectly fine too. You guys, keep forgetting this. MITK. Wait, no, I don't have this. I have something else. Mobile capture, identity verification. I don't have this. What's the story on this? 600 million. This is too small. Is it OTC? Long. Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh no, Apple's not done. MITK is, there's got to be a bigger story here, because if the description is just cell phone stuff, yeah. If this is just identity verification stuff for mobile, I don't want it. So there's got to be a better story that I just don't know. Yeah, so I like Apple. I also don't think that, like, I was just saying this earlier, I don't think that Cook would leave I don't think he would announce his retirement and hand over the reins, like, if they weren't going to have like a blowout quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So today at 266, that is the bottom of the bear zone here. So, like, as long as it holds that, I feel like that's tradable. Yeah, I got exactly that. So, but if that is the story, it's not enough for me. But I think I would buy the Apple dip. At least trade it, right? Like, I guess that's what we're talking about. Because, like, is this like, no, I want to go all in Apple? No, but I just can't see Cook walking away without knowing that they're gonna have like you want to hand over the company on its best possible footing, right? Yeah, exactly. So, like, this is exactly where it would hold. Literally right here. And, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, plus as I'm thinking about it, right? I mean, just the thought of, like, do other people think that he would hand over the company without knowing that he was gonna, like, throw up like some obscene number? I don't think that you would. I think that you would do that knowing that this is going to be probably a record quarter. Yeah, I like it. April 30th. And they have these new expirations on these things that like I can get a 2-day option here. I can get a 2-day 270 call on the Apple. I think I'll buy that at the close. So I will wait for the close, guys. I'm letting you know. I will take a flyer and I'll buy April 29th, 270 calls on the Apple, which is going to avoid earnings. This is how I do it. Avoid earnings and looking for this kind of a boop into 273 plus that. So that's currently at $100. If I could get it under $100 sometime at the close or even below here, that should close out at like 3 plus for my multi-bagger. Anyways, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. The wheels were turning. They got them turning. So I don't like to trade like earnings vol. So with increasing volatility, which we do know, like as earnings approaches, with increasing volatility comes increasing decay. So I would do it two ways. Either I would go out to June or maybe even July, or maybe even if you really want this, then I would say like you are in this for 300s. You're in this for this trade for 320. So if you really like it, then I would probably go out for some leaps on a hot take, right? Like maybe, what am I looking at? 340s, which would be double that for 2028, or maybe even 300s for 2027. Look at that, 2200 volume, 38 delta. That's a sweet spot. So I would probably go out to 2027 for the 300s if you want to take like an actual stab at it. What I was talking about is with funny money. Like that's literally lunch money. It's nice lunch, by the way, but it's like that's literally all it is, and it's like very binary. It either works or it doesn't in the morning. MU all-time high day. Look at that. Rambler, it depends. They can be good, but you have to do the calculations. You have to know they're only good on stocks that are underpriced. So like if the earnings move, if the implied move is below what it should be, then and only then are strangles good. If that is not the case, they are lose. You will lose. Any other market strength weakness in general? Yeah. So steel, I kept talking about, someone was talking about this. Thank you for the reminder. Steel is like low key, multifaceted here. So steel, Nucor, reporting today, important. STLD, Steel Dynamics, has already reported. Look at this. Already reported. Letter X, US Steel. What is happening, right? What is happening? And in the junk pile, the good old Cleveland Cliffs. So why is steel doing this? Is it more steel for the data centers? Or like, are they using all kinds of weird steel to build spacecraft? What's going on? It's all the above. But more importantly, if you remember a couple of years back when Trump made those changes for steel tariffs, it's now showing up. And that's what's happening. So not only do these steel makers have pricing power, they have increased demand as well. And this is changing the whole. So this is like off the lows. It's changing the whole dynamic of the entire industry. So Steel Dynamics, WS Worthington Steel, my guys and girls already reported earnings. But why would they do this and have this price actions? Because they have pricing power. They have pricing power, and it's a different setup. It's a different deal. So yeah, so this is under the radar. Something else. Yeah, thank you. There you go. Boom. Right. That is it. Not Clean Spark. Mercy. Yes. Like what is happening? Plus, if you believe in America, this is probably the low-keyest AI play that's also space theme and onshoring all rolled up into one. nice little package. It's just insane, right? Like just insane. CRS 8. I don't know these 8 CRS. Carpenter Technologies. Yeah. Okay. I can just assume what this is. Yep. Special metals. No clean spark. ATI. It's a little hot. It's a little hot. So we do want to look. So I need to do some research on this X Energy. This one's looking like a breakout. Again, super low float. Probably can't sell it. So it'll probably go higher right now. Uranium is getting a bid across the board. This is, I do have a trade on Cleveland Cliffs. Fastly is looking nice. It's at a pivot. So I don't want to press that, but viable on pullbacks to me. Memory, just Ripper, Flucor. This is my list. So I'll just scan through these for you guys. These are the top movers on my list. You can look them up. MP is on there. This one, I wouldn't trust this one just yet. Look at that. It looked like good for a day trade. I think this one's got a little bit more work to do, but as long as it's holding 60, I wouldn't fade this by any means. This is setting up. Also AI, also whatever. TeraWulf is optics. Micron new all-time high. Fixed data center. You cannot get a real pullback on comfort systems. And a stock like this, having already reported earnings, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this. This stock has already reported earnings. A raging bull market. So like, how do I short the market when I see this? Like, this is crazy. Post earnings holding and accelerating. Just saying. NVIDIA doing this. ECG. This is a data center construction stuff. HVAC. Like, it's all intertwined. Is that wild? It's all intertwined. It's $7 billion for you. DigitalOcean. That's this is the one I kept thinking when you guys are at MITK. I thought you were talking about MTZ. This is the one I was thinking of. 30 billion. Construction. So this is data center construction stuff, man. Quanta, never sell. MYRG is the other one. Look at 5 billion for you. These are names you may or may not have heard about. This is a lot of construction related to energy and data center stuff. I don't even want to get started on this thing. This thing has not stopped at all. Alcoa, post earnings, big dip, already on the mend. I don't know. Carrier Global, same thing. Bloom Energy, congrats. OSS, not looking bad. EME, these are breakout long-term moves. That one, I don't know. VST looks fine. It's on the mend. We talked about this one for a while. Celestica, big reversal. Dude, we're reversing. HP is a catch-up. JCI, Johnson Controls. Expeditors, I bought this. This is Foxconn. I don't think you could go wrong with Foxconn. Cypher, we'll see. Intel is just gross. Cadence reports tonight, big deal, but a tough spot. AGX. There you go. That's the list. CEG, look at that chart. I don't think anybody's really late to this yet. Eaton, right? So this is a small power company, smaller cap. Yeah, this is, I mean, I think this is the whole data. It's a re-rating. It's a re-rating. And it's like, even if they don't, a lot of these things, even if they don't sell so much more, right? When these companies get pricing power, that re-rates a lot of the stocks. Air Products, APD. If you're looking for a bottleneck in semis, there you have it. Chemicals. The power hour is up. I'm going to go see if I can get some live trades going. I kind of gave you guys one. Worthington Steel. Look at this. Cat. Enersys, like, good night. So a lot of these are post earnings. This one's not. And a lot of these are in that $10 billion sweet spot as well. I think you have to do this. So look at this. If you like the Enphase name, right? EnerSys is stored energy solutions for industrials, right? So like, why is this one actually getting the bid and Enphase not? I mean, clearly this one's doing it. Cat and Deer, I think, have something very similar as well. So like, there's a lot of competition in the space. I don't want to talk about this one too, but they got earnings coming. I think you could probably take some profit there. TSM, new all-time high day. There you go. So just scrolling on semi. Look at that chart on semi. Hopefully you guys got something out of the list. There's a lot in here. It's going and going and going. But hey, it's been real, guys. Yeah, you saw that. ENS. There's a lot more names than people realize. It's 7 billion still, ENS. I think you have to, it's at 7 billion. I think you have to do your own due diligence, right? Yes, they've run a lot, but so did Micron at 400% up on the year. And I think they're all the same kind of story. As long as demand is increasing, and as long as these companies have pricing power, and if they're uniquely positioned within the sector, look, I don't really see it. And they don't have like a big headwind in front of them. If they do, it's a different story. You know, could they get crushed? For sure. But like, this was a list of names that most people don't know. Connie, nice seeing you, for sure. I love it, David. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, guys. And for now, I'll see you later. Adios. Peace.